guys, welcome back to the channel, and if you are new, welcome on in. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you are having a lovely day. Today we're working on a build that I did over the weekend. It is an apartment block, and if you look back on my channel, the past few videos have all been apartment renos. I've been kind of obsessed with doing apartments. I like the challenge of having like this really small box that you have to fit so many things into. Only one of these apartments turned out to having 2 bedrooms. Everything else is either 1 bedroom or a studio apartment. Actually, all 3 apartments on the top floor are all studio apartments, and the downstairs are all bedroomed apartments. Although there's one apartment which I think could maybe fare well if you made it into a studio apartment, if you knocked out one of the walls, but we'll get there. But I wanted to build this eco apartment because I've been obsessed with the eco lifestyle apartments. I think they're really small, really cramped versus the San Shuna ones, which are a ton bigger. I've been trying to go back and reno those. There's about 2 that I like to reno. There's one that's like a 2-story, and then there's one that's in the Spice District. If you're watching my videos, you know which ones I'm talking about. But I've been working on those apartments for so long, and I thought, you know what? Let's just combine what I love to do. I like to do big builds. I like to do tiny, cramped spaces. So the best thing I could come up with was doing an eco apartment block. And as you'll see as we go through these apartments, each of the apartments have like a color theme. I was definitely inspired by the new Dream Home Decorator pack to come up with all these different colors, because that pack came with some amazing counters. And all its counters come in like all these vibrant colors. We've got like a vibrant blue, a vibrant yellow, red. Well, is this a red? I think it's more like a red salmon rose color. It doesn't matter, it's red anyway. And so I wanted to build apartments that kind of all had their own color theme. And you could definitely, if you do play with this lot, you could definitely renovate it, especially this a first apartment we're working on. This is the first apartment I worked on, and you can definitely see I'm still trying to get a feel of what I want the apartments to look like and feel like. Eventually by I think the second apartment, I come up with an idea of how I want everything to look and feel. I definitely wanted each apartment to have its own personality, its own theme. You'll see in the screenshots later, I was actually playtesting the build, and I thought it would be really fun to bring Sims into the build and have them interact with the things around, interact with the apartments and the builds and things that I put in the apartments for the screenshots, just so it looks a bit more lived in. And I actually created Sims for each apartment. I created different families and different couples, so that I could have, you know, different personalities to give you an idea of what I thought the personalities of the Sims were that kind of lived in those apartments. The favorite apartment for me would probably be the yellow apartment, but we'll get there. I think that this red apartment is kind of a really blank slate. I forgot to actually decorate one of the walls completely. The brick wall that's behind the TV, I completely forgot to decorate that wall. So I feel like this apartment would be a good one if you were to play in this apartment block. That would be a good one to move into, because it's right at the front where your Sims spawn generate. It's not spawning, it's generating, where your Sims would generate. And it's just like right in the front of the lot. It's the blankest slate. It's the smallest of it. Well, the pink is the smallest apartment. This is actually a pretty good size apartment considering everything else. I think the biggest apartment has to be the blue apartment, followed by the green one, but I'm just naming off colors here, and we're still busy on the first one. But you can see I was really struggling with the layout. I was trying to fit a kitchen island in. I tried to fit a kitchen island into all of the apartments, thinking right now there's only two apartments I didn't fit the islands into, so unfortunately I didn't get it into every apartment. But I was also, you can see here, I was trying to do that sneaky little trick that I used to do where the sideboard that came with Eco Lifestyle, I used to like to sneak it underneath the island counters, because to me it looks like a bench that you could pull out and sit on. It looks like just like one unit. Instead of having chairs that you like push up against the counter like flush, it is actually a bench that you can slip completely under the counter, completely out of the way, and you can just pull that out and sit on it. Because in small apartments you gotta make the most out of all the space that you can. I cut out the floor plan here in the blue apartment because this one honestly took me a really long time. When I cut this build down and I just sped it up, no edits, just sped up the footage, I was looking at 45 minutes. And I managed to bring it up under 27 minutes, and that is because I lost a little bit of the beginning footage of me building it. For some reason, after I put it in the editor, my computer said I couldn't find it. I looked for it, I couldn't find the footage. So I don't have the footage of me building the apartment or doing the first few colors and cutting up the building for all the different apartments, which I think is not really unfortunate. I would have loved to have included it because it was a bit of a puzzle at first to try and figure out how I wanted everything to fit. But here's kind of like where I decided that I wanted each apartment to have its own color, have its own theme, and I was trying to figure out a good way because this is a 2-bedroom apartment. I wanted it to feel like 3 Sims feasibly could live here. I wanted to have 3-seater at the is a dining table a bit of a optimistic word for what that is? It's just a little table. I wouldn't call it is a dining table, but that just feels, when I think of a dining table, I think of like 4 or 6 seats. I don't think of like a little cute little cafe table. That's what it looks like to me. But that's what I ended up putting in here, and I ended up putting the same plant on each table in each apartment. So, creature of habit. But I really like this apartment because it felt a little bit more homey. It's not the homiest of the apartments, but this is kind of where I start to get my groove and figure out, okay, I want each of the apartments to be like really cluttered and really, fit the personality of the family that lives there. This family has a stay-at-home wife. They have a musician, and the kid, you'll see in the screenshots, wants to be an astronaut and wants to be a scientist and work on the spaceships and explore the cosmos, and I think that's really cute. Actually, when I was taking the screenshots, I had the kid read under the covers because I was trying to like get my Sims into different positions so I could take really cool screenshots, and he actually spawned with like the planets and the rockets, like in that little images that dance around their heads when they read. And I think it also comes when the toddlers are on the rocking chair, I think. But that actually spawned around him, so that created like a really cool shot, like maybe he's reading a magazine underneath the covers and he's going through in his dream about what he could do one day. I also ended up cutting out a lot of the footage of me doing the outside. This build is not my typical build style. I'm typically a storybook builder or a suburban builder, and this is just not my comfort zone. So I was really struggling to figure out what I wanted the outside to look like, because I know modern apartments, they typically have like really clean lines, flat roofs, lots of different textures going on the outside walls, and I was really struggling to figure out how I wanted to incorporate all of that and still have it be functional. My biggest problem was trying to figure out where I wanted all the windows to go, because once you place the windows on the inside for the function, they don't really necessarily look very good on the outside. So I was trying to find like a good balance between the two, and you can see there are some windows in this apartment that don't exactly make a whole lot of sense. I couldn't quite fit curtains on all of them and blinds on all of them. They're just kind of in these really awkward spots, but I was trying to find a good mix between the two. And this apartment complex is completely play tested. You'll see in the screenshots, completely play tested. There was only 2 things I had to change in this entire build, which is actually, one is that lamp. It's too close to the door, and that dresser that's there. By the way, the Dream Home Decorator pack is so amazing. I've been building with this pack so much. I love all the modular furniture and finding different ways to use it, especially in this build, because you don't want every build to look the same. It's very easy to, I know for me, to get stuck into a build style and just say, okay, this is where I am and this is our build. And it's very easy to get caught in that. And it's a nice way with all the modular pieces that kind of fit together and clip together, and you can move it as one piece. It's nice to have the customization. I really appreciate that The Sims gave us that customization. Here you can see I'm working on the kids' room. You can see I'm adding all the trophies and all the awards. Imagine this kid enters like a lot of science fairs, lots of contests, wins a lot of contests, and maybe they'll just be the next big scientist. Maybe this kid will grow up and marry an alien. Who knows? But I actually really like this room, and I wanted this room to feel really decorated and really cozy, especially considering the fact that it has no window. I tried to make sure each of the bedrooms had windows, but you win some, you lose some, and sometimes your Sims are just stuck without a window. But that's it for the blue apartment, and now we have moved on to the yellow apartment. This apartment, it turned out to be quite small. This is the apartment I was talking about when I said that it would benefit for being a studio apartment versus being a roomed off apartment. I think I kind of got away with the size, because of the decorations that I put in, because of the window that I put in. I put in the eco lifestyle window in the bedroom, and there's only one window in the living space, which is unfortunate. But this apartment has a lot of yellow, a lot of white, and it feels really happy inside. So at least there's that. I tried to put a window behind the counters. I think I end up putting a mirror back there because I end up decorating that wall on the outside. That eco lifestyle like garden wall, the really tall ones, I end up putting those on the side because I was trying to mask like the stair railing, and I didn't want to add more wood and texture on. I didn't want to paint it, so I thought that would be a good alternative, and that's what I ended up doing for that side. So I had to remove the window, which is sad. I try to always put my sinks in front of windows in The Sims, but that doesn't always happen. So, but this apartment is possibly my favorite just because I love the color yellow. It brings a lot of happy. I think it reminds me of summer, and not that I'm a summer baby, it's currently winter where I am, but I really enjoy this apartment, and I think it's really happy, really cozy. And this Sim that I imagined here was actually a teacher. But this desk that I end up doing here, I end up doing a lot of these custom desks, especially when I'm building on stream. I end up doing these custom desks. I found out that if you take a island counter, you snap a laptop to it, snap a chair, a bar stool to it, and then you size the counter down. Sometimes the counters, especially lately, don't want to size down. I've got the tool mod in, which I highly recommend. I'll link it in the description box below. But I use the tool mod to size down the counter and then hide it in a piece of clutter, and then as long as you shift it like a little bit into the wall, your Sims can totally use it. I have at least two custom desks in this entire build. I think at least two, but I really like the idea of having like this really small cramped desk area, because this apartment, like I keep saying, is really tiny, really small. You got to make use of everything, and I really didn't want to stick the laptop on the dining room tables in these houses. I tried to make sure each apartment had a desk and a computer, but I don't think that's the case. I think some of the apartments are completely missing computers. I know the red one for a fact is missing a computer, but I think that's the only one that's missing one. So if you go back and you play in this apartment, I'm assuming you're playing the red apartment if you were to play in this build, but you can just stick one like on the island, or you can make like a little custom desk yourself. You see, when I'm working in this room, I was trying to pick a bed that matched the yellow theme. I was trying to use the Dream Home decorator bed actually, and what I ended up noticing was my swatches were broken. They have like this really weird wood texture instead of the actual texture that's supposed to come with it. And I'm wondering, is that a mod? Do you guys ever seen it? You can see it right there. My wooden poles, the decoration behind the bed, they also changed their weird wood texture. And I noticed that with quite a few things. It's not the end of the world. I just changed it to something else, changed it to a different swatch, and it's fine. But for some reason I noticed that happens with some of my things, and I wonder if it's a mod. If you guys have ever experienced it in your builds, let me know. Here we are working on back on the outside, and this is what I was talking about. I go back and forth a lot because, like I said, this is just not my build style. But So I kept going back outside and changing my mind. Typically with my speed builds, I like to pick a room, finish up the room, and then move on to the next room. I try not to jump around, but this build, it was just inevitable. I couldn't help it. Um, Something I did end up doing was my landscaping was really different. I ended up using the platforms to make like these garden beds, and I put the is that a cactus? That little round plant. I put this little round plant in each of the planter beds because I felt like it just looked a little bit neater, looked a little bit more tidy, and it felt like something a little bit more modern versus the way I typically landscape, which is overgrown, lots of flowers, lots of greenery, just like way overgrown. I felt like that wasn't entirely modern. You see back there, I also worked on making like that little back entrance. There are two staircases in this build. One is on the, well, if you're looking from the front of the build, it's on the right hand side. There's one, and on the left hand side, there's one. But you have to go around the back of the build, and it's around the back of the build. That apartment where the trash cans are, that apartment is the smallest apartment out of all of them. It's the last one that I decorate, but that apartment ends up being the smallest of the bunch. But it does have access to its own balcony. This apartment I'm working on, the green apartment, it shares its landing balcony space with the white apartment. So it's a really cramped space, and they have to share it. Versus the pink apartment, which has like that whole area. But the trash cans are also there, so I imagine it's pretty smelly out there. But you win some, you lose some, so you can't win everything. So here I'm working on the green apartment. This apartment I really like. My friend said this was her favorite out of all of them, because it leans a bit more masculine in the color scheme. I'm not used to decorating in greens. I'm not used to decorating in dark wood tones. I typically like yellow, blue, and white and beige. That's my color scheme. Sometimes a little bit of pink. I don't typically decorate really dark and really modern, but there was something about this color scheme that I really enjoyed, and I felt like the sim that lived here was a photographer. I ended up making him, that couple that lives in this apartment is probably one of my favorites. I gave the sim a full-on dad bod. He's got a green hoodie on, and he's just driving out to some music and working on his laptop in the screenshots. Here I'm working on the closet, and I did this asymmetrical look because I've been mirroring all of my closets. I wanted to make it look a lot more different, so I ended up mixing and matching and doing something a little bit more asymmetrical, and I think it looked really cool in the end versus doing like something that's completely perfect, completely the same right around. But I was struggling with the layout in this apartment just a little bit. I tried to sneak a bookcase in, it doesn't work, and I tried to stick a shelf in, and that almost didn't work. But once I got there, this is kind of the apartment that helped me decide that okay, all the upstairs apartments are gonna have to be studio apartments because they just don't work. They do have like the height advantage, but the size advantage not so much. And yeah, I'm just putting some more decorations on the walls. Those metal grate things, they are from the Snow Escape pack. I don't often use them, but I was looking for something to put on that wall that wasn't those eco lifestyle slats, and that actually came out, and I really like how it looked. I really cluttered up this kitchen quite a lot. I put some shelves up, and I decorate the shelves using the, what is it called, MSP shelf. Yeah, I think it's called the MSP shelf. It's a red shelf that you can download. I'll also link that one below. If I forget to link anything, just let me know. Just shout at me in the comments, and then I'll edit and remember to link it, or I'll put it in the comments. But typically I remember to get the, what is it, the Twisted Mixie, the tool mod, the Better Build By, and which other mods do I have? I have the MC command, I have the UI cheats, and I think those are all the mods that I have. Oh, and the shelf. I can't decorate without the shelf. I used to just like use like the 9 and 0 keys to raise things up and like lower it down. But now with the tool mod, especially with the tool mod, now that the tool mod is like in the build by category, I absolutely adore it because now I can Now I can size the rugs perfectly, especially the rugs. It's not so much anything else that I feel like I have to resize. I feel like that tool mod specifically for me at least is solely just to resize the rugs that I want to put into the bowls, because sometimes you press the bracket key, the rug gets too big, you press the bracket key, the rug gets too small, and it's not perfect. And I've always wanted something that I could use for that, and I used to use the tool mod before it was in the build by catalog, but it would make my game lag, and I don't have the best setup, so it would make my game lag. But now that it's in the build by catalog, it's my favorite tool. I even added a little university bike into that photography apartment just because I felt like it kind of matched the surroundings and it kind of just made sense. This apartment we're working on now is the white apartment. This, hands down, gave me the most grief. This apartment. What you see now is a very cut down version of this apartment. I spent about 40 minutes IRL trying to figure out a layout for this apartment. I originally wanted a big bathroom, and by big bathroom I mean possibly like a 2 by 3 apartment, a bathroom, sorry, not apartment, bathroom. But unfortunately, that just wasn't happening, so I had to end up going with like this really tiny bathroom, completely usable by your Sims. I just put the university shower or the snow escape shower, one of the two. I ended up putting a shower in the basin on the one side, the toilet on the other, completely usable. It's just not ideal because it's really really small, but I figured it's fine. Your Sims don't really mind. You could just stick a roommate in here. And if you wanted to renovate this apartment, you could always just steal some square footage from your neighbor. The neighbor has a really big bathroom, so I'm sure that she doesn't mind stealing if you steal some square footage from her. You could even maybe steal, yeah, you could definitely build out and add more square footage to your bathroom, but I don't think it's really that important. This apartment theme, I wanted to go for a really boho kind of nomadic kind of sim. I wanted to go with all white, and I wanted it to feel. It was really inspired by the paranormal pack, is kind of my vibe that I was going for. I wanted somebody who felt like they were like a little bit witchy, a little bit more alternative, laid back, and I don't know. I just really like how this apartment came together. I ended up using some that piece from, I think it's Realm of Magic. First time I ever used that dresser in a build, but I actually really like it because I was looking for something that fit into that corner. Looking back, the only thing I would change in this apartment was the counters. I feel like the country kitchen would match perfectly. Although I wanted each apartment to have the same counters, all the new ones. I want them all to apart have counters that all looked really modern, really new, versus some just like one apartment, and especially like a really small apartment, have like these really crappy old counters. Although you could do something like that, you could actually do a let's play like that where you have a sim move into an apartment block, build like a really crappy apartment block, and you have to kind of build the apartment block up and have your sims have your sims move in and have roommates, and eventually sell it and flip it for a profit. Especially with the new Dream of Decorator, that's kind of like a thing I've seen people been doing, is this let's plays of like having a really crappy house. I know James Stern has been having a really popular one that I've been really enjoying watching. Been really enjoying his Dream Home Decorator series, and I know he's been doing that where he's got this really cute house and he's completely flipping the house. Then he'll buy some more properties and flip those and sell those. But here we are working on the last apartment. This is the pink apartment. This apartment, it took a little bit of time in the beginning, but once I got there, you can see I said it's got a big bathroom. Unfortunately, me making the bathroom any smaller wouldn't have served any purpose really, because of the way I ended up decorating the apartment. It just made sense to have the apartment the way it is at the moment, with a bigger bathroom, because I wanted to have like that little nook for the bed. But originally, I thought that I wasn't going to be able to fit a living room situation in here, but I actually did. I think it was the nifty knitting sofa. Yeah, it's a nifty knitting sofa. I see it now. in here, and I put the TV above it, and I put like a little puff from Snow Escape. I snuck it under there. I did that in quite a few of these apartments. I snuck the puffs underneath the TV centers, just so it looks like you could pull the puff out and you could have more people sitting anyway. You could have people like pull up the chairs. And this apartment I think is really, really cute. Like I said, this is the smallest one out of all of them. And it's got its own private balcony, and it's also got its own desk. I was trying to figure out, do I put a dresser in here, but then I thought, you know what, a sim needs a, they've got the mirror, because you sims don't need actually dresses to change their clothing. That is solely for decoration purposes. They need a desk, so I ended up making a custom desk just like I did downstairs in the yellow apartment, and I really like how it came out. It came out really cute. Like I said, functional. Your sims can come in and out, nobody's in the way. The kitchen's completely functional, and I really like how this build came out. I thought that this sim would be a dream home decorator too, maybe an interior designer. So I put the interior designer workboard in front of the desk. I feel like maybe there's some clients, and over here you can see I'm fighting with the dish rack. This is sped up footage of me fighting with this dish rack. It just wouldn't place in this corner the way I wanted it to, but I ended up raising up some things and placing them on that windowsill because I wanted kitchen clutter, but obviously I couldn't put it on the counters. There was no more room. But here we're coming to the end of the build. I put mirrors on the one side of the bed just so that it would help make that space seem a little bit bigger, a little bit bigger. So here we are coming to the very end. So if you've watched all this way, don't forget, like, comment, subscribe, and let me know which apartment would you want to live in. Thank you all so much for watching, and I hope you all have a lovely day. Bye.